Hello.
Hey Jack, let me see if I can turn on my camera here. It seems to be there we go.
There you
Hey,
go.
how you
There you are.
doing?
How you doing, man?
Good, nice to see you.
Yeah, you too. And nice to meet you. I mean,
Yeah, you
goodness.
too.
What can I say? I've been seeing a lot of stuff that you've been doing. I have to say I'm very interested in it, and I am willing to have a great conversation with you today.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm excited to talk to you. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem at all. No problem at all.
Yeah.
So, before we get into some of the old stuff you have done, what are you doing anything recently?
So most recently I worked on season 4 of Young Dylan, which is a show that Tyler Perry produces and is directed most of the time by a wonderful woman named Chip Hurd. She's been in the television business for years. And that is a Nickelodeon show. It's a kids show. It's supposed supposed to be not supposed to be. It is a lot of fun. I've been told that it's translated into many other languages. It's supposed to be translated into quite a few other languages. I'm not sure exactly how many, but that's pretty exciting because that means we're talking to kids around the world.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
You also been in To Catch a Killer, where you play Andy Stevens. You've also been, believe it or not, that Joe Kenda show. What's it called? Hunter or something?
Homicide Hunters.
Homicide Hunter. You're in that as well. So
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. So I mean,
yeah,
to work with the real Joe Kenda, who is a legend as far as I'm concerned in his own right, that's amazing.
yeah. So full disclosure, he is a consultant on the show,
Mhm.
um, and he obviously does the interviews. I didn't get to meet him on set. I got to meet the guy who plays his younger self.
Oh, okay. You mean
um,
the
and he's been
acting
playing his
show.
younger self for a number of years. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
but to be on a show with someone who just even though we didn't get to work together, to be
Mhm.
on the show together
Yeah.
with someone who's helped solve so many crimes and helped to bring so many families closure over the years is pretty incredible. I mean, what a prolific career and what a great cap to it to be able to retell those stories, so people know, kind of, understand hopefully what the families uh, had to go through, and also a little bit more about the process of what the detectives go through who are helping these families along the way.
Wow. Exactly. And believe it or not, which I'm sure a little bit of Hollywood's put into it, but this is the story on his life as he was
Mm-hmm.
a police officer back in the 70s. Retired now, of course, for those who don't know
Mm-hmm.
that. Mr. Kenda, Lieutenant Kenda, is retired, but
Mm-hmm.
he's happy to share his stories on this great show. That's on ID. Actually, that's the name of the station I get on, ID, which is
Yeah,
Investigation Discovery.
correct.
So yeah,
Yeah.
which brings a lot of great shows on there as well. And I think
Yep.
at one point Your Worst Nightmare was on there too, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had viewed there. Now to get into your character, Maurice Mason, my goodness,
Mm-hmm.
how scary that man was. And what made him so scary was the fact that when you watch the beginning of the show, you'll see that Jennifer Hitchcock was in a relationship with a girl, so she was bisexual, which is a very open thing today. And
Mm-hmm.
your character Mason, if I had just met you, that character that particular day, I would have think that he was just a quiet guy. He was a devil
Yeah.
in disguise, and
Yeah, yeah. He definitely was. He came off as just like this quiet but kind of sweet, wonderful,
yeah,
perfect perfect match.
yeah,
And then jealousy rears its ugly head. Uh it's all his insecurities, his own demons start to show up, and it leads to some terrible tragic moments.
oh, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And he was that desperate and he was that obsessed with her. Um he'll go to great lengths, especially going out in front of the street with a wrapped towel around him just to drag her back in. Like
Mm-hmm.
wow, like my goodness, what was it like to work with your co-star in that film? I mean, what was she like?
So yeah, she was wonderful. She was great. Whenever I do something like that, and this isn't to say just me, I hope that this is common among actors in general, but whenever I do a scene that requires or work with a person that requires violence,
Yeah.
aggression,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff, there always has to be a level of trust involved. So,
Yeah.
we made sure to discuss everything, and our director was wonderful on that too.
Wow.
All of us discussed everything beforehand. We ran it a few times to make sure that everyone felt safe and comfortable with what was going to happen.
Exactly.
And but I'll tell you, she was there, she was connected, she made it a lot easier to work. And there's an interesting thing with these. You've had some really great people on the show, from some wonderful television over time. uh and Your Worst Nightmare is one of those shows that people see it as a recreation show.
Oh, it is.
And
It
so
is.
they don't think about the fact that there are still actors that are doing the job, that are, and a lot of times they're cutting that was one of the shows. That's one of the shows I cut my teeth on, so to speak.
Oh,
I sharpened
exactly.
my teeth on. And
Exactly.
so people don't necessarily think, like, people kind of laugh about it. But what's interesting is when you work on those shows, there's a great deal of respect for the victims. And
That's why
there's
you
a
do
great
it.
deal of, yeah, because the idea behind a lot of these people that are doing these shows isn't, ooh, we get to make money off death and murder,
Mhm.
which some people will misunderstand.
Yeah.
Sure, that's always involved, but it's more about, like, respecting and honoring what's going on. They get permission from families. They get this isn't, they don't just go about, they make sure that we don't get out of place and contact the wrong people or bring something up for someone that's too sensitive. Yeah, so there's a lot of trust, a lot of safety there, and there are a certain number of rules out of respect for the victims and the families of those victims.
Oh, exactly, exactly. And the reason why your part in this and so many other people who play a part in this documentary show I like to call,
Yes.
it's to basically number one, respect for the victims because they're still suffering to this day.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I'm sure, did you ever get to meet Jennifer Hitchcock's parents or like that? Did you ever get to?
They asked us to generally try not to contact them, keep our distance, because if we're working, it's different when you work on something that is long form.
Right,
This is short form,
right.
right? Each episode is self-contained. When it's short form, it moves faster. When it's long form, you might have more time to go around the right channels for that. But because Your Worst Nightmare is at the time was, they're doing shows every week. They're trying to keep it moving.
Mhm.
They have their people that do the research, that do the clearances, that we talk to. Those people are in contact with the folks that they need to be in contact with,
Yeah,
the families.
exactly. Exactly.
Um,
And come
and
to
again,
think
it's about protecting the families.
exactly. But also, yeah, I mean, to be in contact with them and and tell them who you are. Oh, by the way, I want to be playing the guy who killed your daughter. I don't
Yeah,
think that would go over well. Like,
not great.
I'm not the killer, but I'm going to be portraying the killer who killed your family, killed your daughter. No,
Yeah.
that
And
just
then
wouldn't
to
go
want
over
to
good.
talk about that with them. Hey, can you tell me this and that about this? Like, that's not,
No,
there's proper channels, proper ways to do that. But in a
exactly.
short form project like that, it's a lot harder to get that stuff done
Mhm.
safely. So they have their production side that handles that. And then they communicate what they need to communicate to the talent.
Oh, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And the only reason why eventually she was killed by him, well, actually, well, let's get one thing straight. Maurice did not shoot her.
Correct.
The other guy did, but
Yes.
still, he was still involved.
His nephew.
He said, "We got to put her out of her misery." And that
Yeah.
was good. And I mean, I've seen other documentaries on the Jennifer Hitchcock story before. I actually saw it on Your Worst Nightmare. He did more things in the documentary than you would see on there. Because I think a lot of that stuff is cut down a bit. So there was more going on besides that.
Yeah.
She wasn't even allowed to leave the house.
Yeah, she was locked in. I did my fair amount of research when I, what was accessible to me.
Exactly.
And yeah, she was basically under constant watch. Once he dug his teeth into her, he was like, I'm not having it. And she was under constant watch. She was under constant fear. And she just didn't. She tried to get away, but she just didn't. She didn't know how. She couldn't. No. It was too difficult. And I can't imagine how hard it must be to feel so helpless in a time like that.
Oh, absolutely. Wow.
Yeah.
It's control. It's control. And it's abuse. Yeah. It's abuse. Yeah. You can't leave your own house because this guy is telling you can't leave. Come on. Like, seriously.
Yeah. And he's supposed to be someone who's supposed to be there with you, right? It's someone who says they love you, someone who says they want to have a family with you, right?
Exactly.
And yeah. But I think that's something that is unfortunately true with a lot of people in abusive relationships is they don't know how to get out. There's it's harder it's easier to say than to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
what did you have to do to prepare for this role? Obviously you had long hair, you had to grow a beard. Wow. Is that a real beard? Is that a real beard?
Yeah, the beard was mine, the hair was mine. Actually, timing was kind of perfect on that because I was growing it out. Because I am of Middle Eastern descent, and so my background is Middle Eastern Lebanese. And so I grew it out because I wanted to play more roles like that, and I was having trouble booking without having longer hair and a longer beard. They just couldn't. They were like, at one point, one person said to me, "You just look too white," and I was like, "Well, that's racist, but okay, I can't." This was years and years ago.
Right.
So in any case, the timing was great. As far as research goes, it's always tough when you play someone who is abusive by nature. Because you want to identify with your characters without judging them.
Yeah.
But also you're talking about someone who did some pretty terrible things. But there's a teacher named Tim Phillips who says violence takes care of itself. And so in regards to the violence stuff, the physical stuff, that comes down to working with safety people and making sure that everything is blocked and choreographed properly. In regards to the dialogue, the interaction, the back and forth, a lot of that, it's not so much that you go to a dark place necessarily, but in my case, I feel like what I do is I allow the opportunity for anger to arise, right? It's a controlled anger. We're aware of what we're doing, but you have to figure out a way to allow an opportunity for the anger to arise. And so part of the research I did for that role was I saw him as someone who was very insecure and had a lot of anger issues and felt like he was losing control of the world. So he needed control of something.
Exactly.
So that's really the work I focused on, was trying to really lock into what it feels like to lose control and at the same time want control more than anything. And then let the dialogue do a lot of the rest. Exactly. And the blocking do a lot of the rest.
As I said, if I knew this guy, which I didn't, thank God I didn't, I probably would have ended up inviting him to a party. Come on, man. Like, Maurice, come on, man. Join this. Not knowing you just let a nutcase into your house.
Right.
No,
That is,
well,
and that is the
I know that's
controlled
not the
part of it.
polite term to use. A person who is not well into my house. That's the right term.
Correct.
They don't use that term anymore. I'm from the old school, and I'm getting into the new school gradually. So let me rephrase that. I wouldn't let this person who is not considered well into my home.
Sure.
I would have let someone well who I would expect would be well into my home, knowing that he is definitely not well. He is very unstable. He's just basically hiding under a sheet for the time being. So
Right. And that's the controlled part. That's
yeah,
the, that's the part where in a show I'm very fond of, that I've watched a bunch was Dexter. I watched
oh
that show.
Dexter, oh my
Yeah,
goodness, I love
it's a
Dexter.
great show. And there's definitely a difference in the person you see in private versus the person you see in public, so to speak, with the
Absolutely.
character.
Mm-hmm.
And I that's the same idea behind this same character, this
Oh yeah,
person.
yeah,
Is that there's a difference between who people see in public and who she sees in private,
exactly.
and that controlled version. And I think as he gets closer and closer to her death, I think he starts losing control of the person people see in public too,
Exactly.
because of things like the towel scene. Sure, no one saw him, or they would have already, the cops come to the hotel at one point, right?
Yeah,
And
they do.
check on her and him and end up not
Like, yeah.
ultimately doing anything because
Oh,
they didn't know. So, but that is him, in my opinion. I think that's him really losing control of the public part.
oh yeah.
That's where it starts to happen, and then it just spirals from there. Interestingly enough, which I don't think they show in Your Worst Nightmare, I think, which really just kind of adds to a little bit of the creep factor for me. I think after they killed her, they went and had like a steak dinner
They
somewhere,
did. They did.
and while they were eating, they told the server to call the police because they just killed someone, and
Exactly.
the cops came and they gave him a full confession,
Yeah.
which is
Weird.
super weird. That was the weirdest. That was the thing till today. If I think about that show till today, I still haven't been able to wrap my head around that shift. That
I know.
and the only thing I can think of is guilt.
Yeah.
Is that they're not complete narcissists.
Yeah.
There is a level of guilt.
Yeah.
Right? Or sociopaths. There is
Yeah.
a level of guilt.
Yeah. It's almost
Um,
like when they killed her, it was almost like the spell was broken. They're back. It was almost like the Cinderella story is over. Now we're back to reality. It's like, what did I just do?
yeah, yeah. I mean, of course,
Oh,
this is all speculation, but
yeah.
it's hard not to speculate because
Yeah.
it's such an unusual
Exactly.
ending, especially to a lot of these shows involve, the person getting caught, and these people just willingly walked in and said, "Hey, I did this."
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Aren't you going to be in a show about? I think it really touched on discrimination or something. I think there's like a movie out or something. You play a bad guy in this one too. You play a lot of bad guys.
I played a lot of when you have long hair and a beard, bad guys come
uh,
your way.
I don't know if
Yeah.
is there a movie coming out or something. It kind of deals with gangs. It was advertised.
So I'm trying to think which.
Yeah.
So I've had kind of a busy year. I mentioned Young Dylan because that was the most recent thing. I worked on a show recently that I really can't talk about yet.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
So
understandable. I respect
I
that.
can't talk about that.
No.
I also worked on season 3 of Heels, which is a show on Showtime.
Okay.
I've done some episodes with them. Or sorry, season 2 of Heels. I apologize, season 2 of Heels.
No problem.
So I've done some episodes with them.
Oh,
And those are the 3 most recent projects I've worked on.
no, yeah.
Yeah, the discrimination thing. I've so I own a production company here in town, and
Right.
we do a lot of we have a live theater stage available,
Nice.
and so we do, as well as a screening room. So we do a lot of screenings and live events that are uh, fundraising or awareness for multiple causes, including discrimination against race, religion,
Yeah.
sexuality, any of that stuff. So we do a lot of that kind of stuff. So I don't know if you came across something that
Yeah.
I had my fingers in that way as well.
Yeah. Exactly. And
Yeah.
what I could be guessing on could be, and it's just like, it's just in case that we're getting into stuff you can't talk about. That could be one of the things where you just can't talk about at this particular time.
It might be. It might be. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and if that is so, that's totally understandable. You were also in Kung Fu and Titles. Kung Fu.
Ti-
Yeah, something. Yeah.
yeah, that is not Titles. That is a double T.
Double.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. That was a unique, strange indie thing I did with a
Okay.
director I knew.
All right.
He's a nice guy with an unusual sense of humor.
Okay.
Yeah, that was maybe that was like the second or third feature film I ever worked on.
Okay. It's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Watchmen, you did that too.
Yep.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was
really
TV
cool. I
series.
actually got to work with her again on another project where she was the director, which was really cool. And I really enjoyed that. That was wonderful.
That's fantastic. And one here I can't pronounce, but you play Kirby Booker. What show was that? It's a movie.
Herbie Booker.
Kirby Booker.
Kirby Booker. Hang on, let me double check here.
You
I
done a lot
lose
of
track
stuff
of
here,
what
man.
I
So
do.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to keep track of everything.
Yeah, I lose track of what I do.
Ah,
Oh, yeah, Kirby Booker. That, hang on, let me see if it's the one I'm thinking of. Because if it's the one I'm thinking of, I don't know if that ever made it past.
Okay.
Just checking here real quick.
No problem.
I'm truly the actor that as soon as it's done, I forget
That's
about
it.
it.
That's
I'm
it.
immediately moving on.
And one thing you notice, I didn't ask
Yeah, so
you
Cypher.
during our conversation. One thing you've noticed, I haven't asked you. I haven't asked you, did you enjoy playing that role? Well, your job is not to like it. Your job is to play the role, what's directed in the screenplay or what's directed in the script. That's it. And then you're done. So whether you liked Harry Joe Cool, whoever the person is, or Sam Shepard or whoever, that's not your job to like them. Your job is to portray them. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Ultimately, you're correct. But full disclosure, I always enjoy digging into a character because I really love the study of humanity,
oh, okay.
and the study of human nature.
Yeah.
And that's what we study. We study human nature, how humans interact with each other, the psychology of people. And just to jump back real quick, the Kirby Booker thing, which was what I thought it was,
Yeah.
that was a project called Cypher.
Cypher, that's it.
That never ended up getting that never got past audience testing, unfortunately. It was a really great concept. I think it was done by Sci-Fi. It was a really great concept about it was at the start of all the excitement about superhero stuff, and it was a great concept about a kid that just has these special abilities that I guess just never got off the ground.
Yeah.
We filmed it and then it just never got past that.
Yeah. Oh, and there are cases too, because I can give you one for example. Back to the Future. Eric Schultz was supposed to play Marty McFly. Did you know that?
Yep.
Eric Schultz was supposed to play Marty.
Yep.
He did. He was Marty McFly for what, at least 10 minutes or so? Like,
I want to say the rumor I heard was they filmed for almost 2 weeks before they made the change.
they made the change.
Yeah.
You're directing a movie and I'm in it, and cut Jack and the right, we all talk in, well, you don't say in front of the other actors because that's not professional. I'm sorry, Jack, this is not going to work out. You are a good actor, you're just not right for this role, but
Sure.
you do have a great future in acting. Please keep it up. Just example, not that I am an actor, but just an example here. You're just not right for this role. I'm sorry. I know this comes as a blow, but this is, this, I hope this is taken as respectful and constructive criticism here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you are a good actor. You definitely are. you're just not right for this role. And a lot of them, actors and actresses, take that as an insult. Oh, I'm not going to be worth nothing now. This one
Yeah.
movie I had my shot. Now I can't be in it because I'm not perfect for the role. See, the thing is, they let themselves down. Have you ever been in a situation like that?
So I can say that I remember one time, this was early
And I
on.
should say, are you comfortable talking about that?
Yeah, of
Good,
course.
good, good.
I'm gonna knock on wood and say I haven't been asked to. I've been actually I have. I've been asked to leave a role once.
Mm-hmm.
It was a high school play thing, and they wanted to go in with someone else after they did it with me, and that was high school, and I can't really talk about it because I don't really remember what happened.
Right, all right. It's all good.
But there was a time where I worked with a director who it was clear that I couldn't give him what he wanted.
Right.
And it wasn't that I necessarily wasn't doing it right. I just wasn't doing it his way.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it's an awful feeling as an artist to
Oh,
ever
yeah.
have that happen. It's an awful feeling. But as I've gotten older and I've worked on more projects, the thing I've learned, I think, is that it it's not, as an actor, we're constantly told, make strong choices and give strong offers, but it's, pay attention to your partner. It's about your partner. Pay attention to your scene partner. And that's kind of the same mentality with the professional side of it. It's not about me, it's about the project. What does the project need most? And so, acting is a wonderful career, but it's heartbreaking. So many things you work on or audition for, you either don't hear back or end up fizzling out, more
Mhm.
than most other careers that I'm aware of, right?
Yeah, exactly.
um Athletes understand that with getting cut from teams and not making it in the first place and trying out again and again, I think. And so the thing I would say is, I can't say that that's happened to me in film or television, but I know the feeling of failing as an actor.
Oh yeah.
And I would say that as I've gotten older, the thing I've realized is I don't necessarily know if it's my failing or if it's just that I'm not the puzzle piece for that puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
so as I get older, I hope I don't experience that. I hope I can always find a way to be a part of the puzzle. But if I'm not, I know it's ultimately not about me. It's
No.
about making sure that the best project is finished, not that I'm a failure in my own right. And hopefully other actors who experience this, if they don't know, learn that eventually.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. In every any job, whether it's acting or it could be something else, there's always learning. There's always learning towards it. And if you make a mistake, there's always learning from that mistake. You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, a lot of movies where you'll see like take example these crazy commercials, like they'll be throwing, let's say, a basketball and they're getting it in the shot the first time. What you don't know is what happened behind the scenes. They could have went through 100 takes just to
Mm-hmm.
get that one shot perfect. Like, wow.
Yeah.
So I mean, where we, the people, the viewers who are watching, think, oh my god, this guy's amazing, he just did it once and it got in.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Although interestingly, I'll tell you, with
Mhm.
tech and cameras and all and the way stuff's changed, it's very interesting because I feel like things move so fast now.
Mhm.
Early on in my career, I
Mhm.
worked with so many directors who'd want 7, 8, 9 takes, and I was like, okay,
Wow.
cool, let's keep going. And now I can't tell you how many directors I've worked with who are like 1, 2 takes and they're done. They're like, cool, moving on, next shot, let's go, let's go. And I think there are those in the world, I
Mhm.
haven't worked with Wes Anderson yet. I
Right.
look forward to doing that one day.
Uh-huh.
I believe he would probably be someone who goes, it needs to be exactly the way I want it to be. That's what I want. And I respect that. I'm ready to do that. And I think that when directors do that, they definitely can create a very precise, honed vision. Not that you have to do that to have a great film, but sometimes as an actor, I miss getting to do it over and over again. You know what I mean? Getting to find new moments, getting to explore in new ways. That's the best.
Oh.
And increasingly, one of the most interesting things is that increasingly as the tech gets cooler, we get to do cooler stuff, but we don't get to do it for as long because it moves so much quicker.
That's true. That's true.
You know? Yeah.
That's definitely true. Well, my friend, we are running out of time, but
Okay.
I want to thank you so much for taking time to speak with me this afternoon. I super appreciate it. You know what? Thank you personally. I've learned a lot from you today. That's absolutely amazing about the acting business and the directing business and all that good stuff. And what to expect, when people are making movies and people are playing roles. It's amazing, man. Absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. So Rowan, is it Rowan?
It is Rowan.
Rowan, thanks so much for taking time to speak to me this afternoon. I super appreciate it. All the best in the future with your acting, all that good stuff. And I will be promoting this in the paper.
Awesome. Please send me a link once you get this all
Oh,
set up, please.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thanks, Rowan. Take
Jack, it was great talking to you. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.